Thanks everyone, my name is Jimmy Linville with 4L Irrigation in Keller, Texas. It's a cold, rainy February day outside here in Keller, so I've set up a display inside to answer some common questions. In this first video, I want to talk about how water flows from the city main to your irrigation system. And first, this is going to represent the city meter. The meter is what the city uses to determine how much water usage you're going to have and to charge you for it. They have a line that is coming from the meter that runs to your house. We have to intercept that line and put a T of some sort in and make it flow to your irrigation system. Now, one of the components that the city requires is what's called a backflow device. A backflow keeps any contaminants from flowing back into the city water, and it also should stop any contaminants from flowing into your house. So, other than pressure, it should never interfere with the water that is going into your house. Now, the backflow devices are usually located about 3 to 6 feet from the meter that is by the street. However, every once in a while, you will see them up by the house. In this scenario, we have it right by the meter, and it should be in a rectangular box. So it may be covered in grass, and you might have to use a screwdriver or something so that you can hit and hear the plastic lid. I would encourage you to find the backflow device before you have an emergency situation, and this is why. I've had many clients call me and say, look, I have a pond in my front yard, my irrigation system is leaking all over the place, and I've turned the meter off, but I don't know how to turn the water off to my irrigation system. If you take the time to find it now, you'll know what to do in an emergency situation, and it will ultimately save you time and money. So find out where your backflow device is, get it uncovered, open up the lid. If it's full of dirt, dig that out. Find these two handles. Most backflows in Texas, or northern Texas here, we have a double check. And on this double check, you can see that there are two different handles. All you have to do is turn it where it crosses the pipe, where it's not running with the pipe, but it crosses it. And that will cut the water off to your irrigation system without impacting your house. In this scenario, we have also an additional cutoff. And usually these are just done in case maybe you have to do work on your backflow, and in order to do work on your backflow, you have to have a permit from the city. So a lot of times these are just put in for convenience sake, so that again, if needed, you could cut the water off. Same principle, turn it across the pipe and it cuts it off. So water flows from your meter through your backflow and up to a master valve. Some systems have master valves and some of them don't. If your system doesn't have a master valve, then just imagine this being a solid pipe, and instead of the water stopping here, it flows to each of these valves. Just like it stopped at this valve, without a master valve, it would stop at each of these valves, and all of this mainline piping would be pressure. What happens when the controller says turn on valve number 1, first it has to turn on the master valve if there's one. So it would turn on this valve, it would allow water to flow through here. It turns on valve number 1, and it leaves this valve, it goes out to what's called the lateral lines, and it waters that zone. Same principle on all of these. I have zone number 1 set up with a riser, so that could represent flower beds, up around the house, shrubs, things of that nature. Spray heads may be your turf, and rotors would be for larger areas. But it all works in the same way. I've had people ask, is there water below this? If I take this off, is water going to spew out of there? And the answer is no. Water is stopped at the valve. And the only time that the lateral lines are going to have pressure is if the controller turns on or if the valve fails, one of those two scenarios. So, I hope this helps you a little bit understand what is underneath the ground at your house and how this flows to each of your zones.